I think her dad would have enjoyed this film. This is Lisa Frankenstein. This film is available on Peacock with audio description. I'm a blind film critic, and I talk about audio description. So why don't you click that subscribe button, because you're probably not going to find that again. I looked on you. There's a podcast, but I think I'm on YouTube. Anyway, Lisa Frankenstein. I sometimes actually enjoy the fact that I do reviews slightly after everyone else, because I get to see the windfall of like, ooh, how does everybody feel about this film? Oh my God, they're not liking it. Oh, looks like this is not good for this film. Which can mean either that end up going like, no, it can't be that bad. Can't be that. Oh my God, it is that bad. Which happens sometimes with like Meg to the Trench. I was optimistic for that film. I was like, I didn't like the first Meg. I liked the first Meg. They're being silly. Silly. No, they weren't. The second film isn't any good. But with Lisa Frankenstein, I was like, oh, it's not doing well at the box office. Audiences don't like it. Critics don't like it. I don't know. That was disappointing. It's written by Diablo Cody, directed by Zelda Williams. I wanted more for this film. And I got it, because I like Lisa Frankenstein. I actually thought this was a good film. I enjoyed it. I could see how this can come. I think this is going to come back around in 10 years and become a little cult classic thing that people continue to watch slowly over time and appreciate. Something that didn't do well in its initial release, but people keep watching it over and over and enjoying it. This could be something that has a musical in 10 years. Would not surprise me at all. I saw all of that in this film's future. This has Katherine Newton as Lisa. Sadly, her last name is not Frankenstein. It's worse. It's Swallows. Good Lord. Anyway, so her name is Lisa. Change your name. Anybody named Swallows, just change it. Just change your name now. And so she's the main character of this film. We open, and her mom has been brutally murdered. So her dad is now connected to a new lady. Her name is Janet. She's played by Carla Gugino, who is brilliant in this role, in this film. I loved Carla Gugino in this. Carla Gugino is also living her best life. Now, I feel like some of the roles she's been having more and more recently have been some of the best work of her career. And she goes to live with this new stepmom of hers, and her stepmom already has a daughter, Taffy, who is your typical sort of popular blonde cheerleader type. And they do so much with her. Diablo Cody's best writing is with Taffy. It's with subverting all of the cliches that could have happened with that character. Instead of having the sister that is not welcoming, that's bitchy, that looks at somebody like Lisa and goes, "You're not like my type. We're not the same thing. Stay away from me when we're at school," which is what we get so many times with these popular girls. Instead, she's like, "Oh my God, I have a sister. Oh my God, sisters share things." She is delightful. Taffy is like the whole movie. I spent the whole movie going, if they fucking kill Taffy, I swear to God. Swear to God. Taffy's the best character in this film. She's like, just like unrelentingly nice and just optimistic. She's not very bright, but she's also, but it's cute and it's funny and it's such a well-written character. The dad too, they subvert a lot of those dad expectations. He's a very different written father than what you would normally get in these kinds of films. He just kind of wants to be a dad to his daughter, and he asks her all these sort of like dad questions. One time she's got like blood on her fingernails, and he's like, "Oh, is that a set of style? Are all the kids doing that these days?" It's just, I enjoy this film so much. basically through a series of lightning events, Lisa ends up, she's over at this grave, and the creature rises from the ground. It's Cole Sprouse. And I can't really comment on Cole Sprouse's performance because he's nonverbal for 99% of the film. Uh, he doesn't see, I've heard that, he puts a lot of emotion into his eyes, but there's only just so much the audio description can really do with that. Although they do really try to do stuff like he furrows his eyebrows. He does. They try to do some of those reaction shots, but just a lot of like moaning from him. It's all up to sort of Katherine Newton to play this role, and she feels a little bit like a Winona Ryder inspired character, sure. And I think that's what people don't like about it, is they're like, oh, it's 280s. It's not with that, whatever. I enjoyed it. I like the film. I think it's quirky. You know what it reminds me of is it reminds me of a lot of films like this that didn't take itself super seriously and ended up being sort of fun, goofy romps. I would say it's like Idle Hands, but like slightly better. Like I think I took it more seriously. I think it had better character development, but it reminded me of stuff like Idle Hands, Jawbreaker, Heathers. It reminded me of all those films. And I don't think that's a bad thing. The killing isn't like over the top. It's not like the film plays itself very light. It has a nice light score to it as well. Like it's not super dark. This is not like this is barely a horror film. It's only a horror film because it has horror elements to it. He is a dead person, and a couple of people have to die for him to get some body parts back. And the film, when it can be gory, is gory, but it also is not pervasively so. There are a couple of things. One of them made me laugh. Definitely. Made me laugh. But it was way over the top. Diablo really stretched it with that script writing. I was like, oh my God, we're doing it. Yeah, I enjoyed the film. I'll tell you where the film falls. Where the film is slightly spoilery, but it has no real bearing on the film whatsoever. And that is the fact that she's trying to communicate with him like the whole film. She does all the talking and he can't talk at all. Now, what they reveal to you in the film is that he can play piano, which means his fingers work. And he's capable of thought. Like, he's obviously, like, understanding. He's not like a mindless Frankenstein monster that's like, brains. It's not like that. So, why doesn't anybody ever hand him a pencil and paper? Like, she can't communicate with him at all. And I'm like, why doesn't he try to look for pencil and paper? Like, I understand that he can't speak, but why can't... Where... I spent the whole time going, is anybody ever going to give this dude a pad and paper? Like a pad and pencil, pad and pen, something to write on? Anything. Is he ever going to write on a wall? Or this dude never writes anything down. I'm like, you can play the piano, but you can't write anymore? Bullshit. So that's the one biggest problem that I have is it's this gaping hole that Diablo wants you to accept for the film. Is she doesn't want you to have him talking, basically. She doesn't want, but the film doesn't work for her if he's able to communicate at all. He has to be able to only communicate through. But instead, she decides to gift him with the powers of being this great pianist. So it's like his fingers obviously move. Now, if she hadn't done that, if he wasn't a pianist, and maybe instead was like a drummer or something like that, you know, where he was able to bang on things. Then we can make a better argument for it. But he does something that requires a lot of finger work, and then also apparently never thinks about writing anything down, ever. He's just always just walking through the film. Just like, yeah, this is cool. I can't communicate with anybody except to... So, whatever. That's my biggest problem with the film, is that it's one of those things where she just kind of wrote herself into that, and I was like, come on now, Diablo, you're a better writer than this. At least have him write one time on something somewhere. So it's just, yeah. Anyway, the rest of the film I really enjoyed. I enjoyed this film. I'm gonna remember this film at the end of the year positively. I'm gonna remember this film if somebody asks me, what films did you like this year? I'm gonna be like, Lisa Frankenstein. I don't know why anybody else didn't like this film. I thought this film was excellent. I thought the audio description was really solid, really nice. The problems with the audio description are they're in the mixing. I don't want to criticize the writing, and the narration are fine. It's mixed poorly in a couple scenes. And what I mean by that is, this is an 80s film, so it's got some 80s music that likes to blare to get in there. And sometimes, like, there'll be description that's happening, and the musical blare, and the audio description loses. It's not a lot, and it's not nearly as pervasively as Ricky Stinicky, but there are a couple places where, like, a song comes on and they'll be doing some audio description, and then you just kind of have to strain a little bit to hear the finishing out of the audio description. So, yeah, I've heard worse, but it is a note that we could have used some better balancing in those places. Instead of the weird 80s songs just taking the focus. So that's it. I like this film. I hope you like it too. I'm gonna give Lisa Frankenstein a B+. Should have handed the dude a pen and paper. That would have gotten you into the A territory. If he had written one, like, just murder on the wall. I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't write in this film. It bothers me a lot. But we're going to go with a B+ for Lisa Frankenstein. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.